everyone, and welcome to Moments with MindLeaps on this Friday. My name is Rebecca Davis, and I'm the founder of MindLeaps, and today we are in for a very special treat on Moments with MindLeaps with the opportunity to speak with Ingrid Silva. Ingrid is a dancer with Dance Theater of Harlem from Brazil who's built this amazing career around the globe and is doing a tremendous amount of work to build communities and to celebrate and to promote Black women in the world of ballet. So we're very excited to hear all about her work today. In fact, we're very also fortunate since Ingrid is going to be on a plane tomorrow to go to Brazil, and yet she's still going to do Moments with MindLeaps with us today. Moments with MindLeaps is an opportunity for us to meet with different people around the world who are building communities, often using the arts and research and social emotional learning to help build all of the different benefits that we can see when we use the arts and the tools of the arts to create change and to foster resilience together. Ingrid is a Dance Theater of Harlem, DTH member, but she's also started a movement to really strengthen the communities around the world, and she's releasing a new book. She's actually going to do her book tour in Brazil, which is amazing. So we are so excited to have her here. Squeezing us in right before you fly to Brazil. It's always a special moment. Hi, Ingrid, how are you?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, you sound beautiful. We are so happy to see your face, and I've been telling our guests that we can't believe that you've made time to do this before you get on a plane to go to Brazil.
Awesome. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. We are all admirers of everything you've done in the field and around the world. So much to promote Black women in ballet, so much to promote community development, so much to just promote ballet as ballet. So we could go on and on, but please start by sharing with us a little bit about how you found ballet or how ballet found you. How did this wonderful career start from Brazil?
Yeah. So, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon with us. It's just very exciting to be here sharing my story. My name is Ingrid Silva. I'm a professional ballet dancer with the Dance Theater of Harlem. I started dancing when I was 8 years old in a community dance project of Dançando Para Não Dançar. And it was really exciting because I had no idea of where ballet would take me or how ballet would play out in my life. It was really amazing to see that one class fully changed everything. I fell in love with ballet when I was 12 years old. I went to few dance schools in Brazil, and at the age of 17, I met Betania Gomes. She used to be a former principal dancer with Dance Theater of Harlem, and she invited me to send an audition video to Dance Theater of Harlem. I got in, I got accepted, and at the time, Arthur Mitchell was alive, and he is actually the reason of who I am today. I've learned so much from him under his wings. He's a legend. I am so blessed to have known so much of history of Dance Theater of Harlem, but also in dance. And I moved to the States at 18. I didn't speak any English, so we would definitely not have this conversation. I've been living in New York now for 14 years. Time flies when you live here. I'm just recently a mother, so Laura is 1 year and 2 months, and thank you, and I am so excited to have her and see how she has transformed in my life, especially being a mother and actively dancing. We know that's not an easy task, and many dancers give up dancing and become mothers, but I am trying to work the best as I can and make this actually happen. We have to change views of society on how women can accomplish what they love, but they can also have their families, they can also be mothers, and they can also be super powerful.
Well, you are certainly an example of all of those things, and everybody should check out Ingrid's Instagram. It is so impressive watching you balance and passe with your little one with you. I was like, wow, this is like a new level of understanding what ballet can be.
Yeah, well,
Very impressive.
I had to find some way to make her excited about class because I was like, I need to take this bar, whatever it takes. whatever she wants to do, it's fine. I'm just gonna make it work. So it definitely worked. And it's so funny because I fully didn't watch the video until everyone was like, oh my gosh, she's stretching her leg on top of your leg. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, she is. So yeah.
Well, you've heard a little bit about the work that MindLeaps is doing, and we're like very excited when you will be with us in the field one day. And it's the same things that you're talking about. Is we have many young teenage mothers who are now going back to school and getting educated, which is so fantastic. And then when they come to the MindLeaps Center, then it's like all of these little kids that are in one part of the side, and then these teenage mothers taking their dance class in the other part of the side. And you can just see how actually like there doesn't need to be like any divisions when you bring the arts together. Everybody can participate.
Definitely. And I think that's why arts is very transformative. And I appreciate what MindLeap does to every student and everyone who wants to encounter some art in their lives. Art definitely has changed my life. I came from a dance community project such as MindLeaps. And I think those organizations are so important when you were growing up, not just an exercise place for you to go or a place for you to spend time, but you can actually become a dancer. I mean, I had no idea that I would just go there and take class and then become a professional. It can also be very transformative.
Certainly, and I have to tell you, Ingrid, our country director from Uganda is joining, Martha, and
Oh,
Martha
that's
is our
amazing.
first African country director at MindLeaps. And now that she's actually seen you, she's going to say that you have to go to Uganda before you go to any other
Yes.
MindLeaps country. I know that she's here to make sure that like you sign up for her program first.
Yes.
um, Ingrid, in addition to this phenomenal dance career, now you're also an author and you're about to
Yes.
launch this book. Tell us what inspired that and how do you manage all of these things?
Well, how do I manage? I still don't know, but I can certainly tell you it's been a dream of mine to become a writer. I know a
Wow.
lot of people have been asking me for the book here in America. It will come, guys. It will come more than anyone else. I would love my book to be here like yesterday. We are working on finding publishers or uh, people who work with publishers. So if you are here, you are watching us, and you are one of them, please reach out to me. Um, in this book, I'm writing about my journey, and I'm also writing about being a Brazilian immigrant in America. Um, really happy to find my ways and my dreams. I know it's not easy for everyone, but especially for women of color, it's extremely hard. We know our reality, but we are not statistics, and we want to make change. So I think in this book, more than just sharing my story, I'm highlighting everything that can inspire you to follow your dreams. Because I think that's one of the most important things. We already see so much happening in the world that sometimes take us up and down, but we have to keep our faith and believe in ourselves.
Gosh, that is a story that we definitely need translated into English. We definitely need in America. But we also, at MindLeaps, will put on our hats to think of publishers because we would also love all of our kids to read that book in Kinyarwanda, in Swahili, in French, in Arabic. That is a story that needs to be told. And we're so happy that you're starting to tell the story, and we'll see where we can build it out from there. So tell us now, you're headed off to Brazil. Is it
Yeah.
for the book launch? Tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
what the next
So
month looks like.
because of COVID, I didn't have an actual opportunity to do a book launch back in August. And then finally, I had a month off from dancing because I was going to do a guesting, but it was pushed to April. But I've had plan already on going to Brazil. So I'm going to Brazil tomorrow. My book launch in Rio, it's February 14, and in São Paulo, February 16. I'm very excited to meet my audience, to
Oh
meet the
my
people
God.
I've been talking online for years. I know some of them has come to my performances, but I would love to see their take in really getting to know my story of just me writing, my story. And a lot of people have said, "Oh my gosh, when I read your book, I'm seeing you. I'm listening to you like I've known you from somewhere." And I think that's what I wanted to do with this book. You know, I wrote this book while I was pregnant. It was really intense, and I had to finish after Laura was born. So I was basically breastfeeding with one hand and then writing with the other hand while typing. Um, it was really
Answering,
intense.
please.
Yes, tell me about it. It was really intense, and I really thought I might wouldn't be able to make it. But yes, we made it. We are a bestseller in Brazil. We are number one on charts of books
Wow.
there. We are on a second reimpression of the book. I don't know how many we have sold now, but over 2,000 books or more. I'm really excited for that. So it's definitely an inspiration turn into reality, because oftentimes we always look for inspiration in other people, and we also have to find in ourselves. So I think also writing this book, it made me being more inspired of my story as well. And there is no ordinary stories. We all have stories that can inspire other people.
Gosh, like, that's like such a theme right now in dance too. I think, people always have, dancers especially, right, have always been like told,
Yeah.
okay, go on stage and do like this ancient choreography. And now it's like, okay, now it's moved to like, okay, who are the current day choreographers? But now it's like also starting to move into the space that actually as a dancer, you're also allowed to have your own voice. You don't just have to have the voice of the director or the choreographer. And I think, like, I mean, you're doing such amazing work in communities and children. We certainly see it at MindLeaps. Is like when you connect that piece of it, the true like freedom for self-expression with the youth, like they see a different value in the arts.
Yeah, definitely. I think dance itself has evolved, and it's beautiful to see how transformative dance has been in this century. If you were not on it with your hats now and you're still living in the past or being an ancient and being the gatekeepers for the new reality, then that's a real problem,
Yeah.
because we've had so much history through now. We've had so many dancers who have changed the face of dance, just being themselves. And I think that's one of the most important things now. We would love to see dance for what it is. We love to see new, different bodies. Yes, some people still want to keep the European aesthetic, which it's still through ballet, but ballet can be so much more, and people can express themselves in so many ways. So I'm really starting to see more of that happening. I'm really excited also to have founded Blacks in Ballet, who is an organization I found with Juan Galdino and Fabio Mariano, who we talk about how diverse ballet should be, and every person who comes to a theater, who comes to a performance, or any ballet dancers they have seen it, it should reflect them. They should feel represented. You know, for many years we have been seeing the norm, and the world is not just the norm. The world is so much more.
Yeah, it's like, gosh, like I wish we could kind of just take those words and like amplify them around the world, because we constantly talk about all the other art forms seem to like have caught on. Like movies are progressing, music is progressing, theater's progressing. I'm not quite sure why why we're so slow in the dance world to catch on to the fact that like this is actually the way like the world is celebrating the beauty of the arts now, is through its
Yeah,
diversity. And
yeah,
that's what helps arts take its place and its relevancy.
exactly. I think mostly that's still been happening because we know the people that make the decisions or are in real power are older people who have lived, um, not mostly in the past, but they have had a different
Yeah.
experience of the young generation lives now. And it's definitely understandable. But I think once you are in that place that you make decisions and you shape the future, you should be open to new dialogues. You should be open to learn. There is not such a thing as knowledge. Knowledge is power, but once you are open to learn that kind of knowledge, when you are not open, then that it's the problem.
Gosh, yes. Like I totally would love to like hear the world say that like learning is more powerful than knowledge. Knowledge is static and it's historic and it's archaic. But actually the ability to learn is what will keep us relevant. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's like, I mean, gosh, there's so much truth in what you say. I mean, with technology, we don't say like, oh, well, if you don't know how to use like the internet, that's okay because you're from a different generation. Like, we expect you to move with the next ideas, the next concepts. So there shouldn't really be exceptions for certain fields. It should be the expectation that we have to catch up with what the values are and what the principles are today, and probably what they should have been for hundreds of years by now.
Exactly.
Well, we could talk about this a lot, but I have to ask you one question, and I don't know if you want to answer it or not, but from your perspective, what do you think is one of the biggest misunderstandings of Brazil from Americans' perspective?
Well, one thing I must say, Brazil is not just about carnival and soccer. We can offer so much more. I know people love to go there on vacation or when the party is happening, but Brazil is full of talented people in the arts, full of beautiful singers, the culinary. Oh my God, I love our food. It's quite amazing. And actually, we had so many historical Brazilian people who has made changes in the world. Unfortunately, we don't talk about them enough as we should. And they get lost in history, which I think that's one of our biggest problems as well. We don't have records in Brazil of historical people. So when it comes to outside of Brazil, it's really hard to see different stories. So people just have their own assumptions. But please do go visit Brazil. There is so much talent in there and so much art and food, and the weather is better than New York. It's not cold.
Well, I have to tell you, like, as a kid growing up with ballet, whenever there was somebody from Brazil in ballet class, we always knew that they were going to be the best in the class. So,
oh yeah, we worked hard, really hard over there.
Yeah, so the tradition is what it should be, and you're leading the way for the next generations. So now tell us, so okay, off we go to Brazil, launching a book, raising beautiful baby. What happens next? Is if I don't know, now you might need to like go to the next planet and like start.
I know, right?
Start the next thing.
I mean, there is so much that I still want to do. I want to create the first Black dance festival in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
There is also Empower Her New York, who it's a women organization I founded 4 years ago. We held events in New York. We connect people. There is so much. I am in the works of a new project. I can tell, but I don't know. I want to change the world in the best way as possible while I'm here. You know, I think the changes that we all want to see, we have to do matters with their own hands, you know? And I think that's why I appreciate as well of MindLeaps. You saw a chance and you took these kids and you were transforming their lives. And I think that's what we have to do. What is the point of just knowing how powerful things can change other people's lives if you don't put them in perspective? So yeah, and every day I just think of something new that I want to do. I think also one of the things that I would love to see happening is creating my own brand on skin color ponchos and tights. Wow. I know there are brands who creates them, but not fast enough and not in the way that I can literally leave my apartment now, go to a store and get one. Everything is just ordered. Yeah. Sometimes people don't have time for that. And I would love to be that inclusive. It doesn't mean that you are creating ponchos for the Black community that sometimes you care, because caring is having those shoes right away ready for people, not waiting for 6 months for them to be ready, or ordering, or never having them there. We know how difficult this is for dancers who needs to use them and needs this diversity. So I think this is one of the most important things, is having arts to be inclusive, but fully inclusive, and see these dancers for their talent and who they are. That's really important.
Ingrid, I wish you could see where I am right now. I'm in like the tiny little MindLeaps office in Manhattan, and I'm covered like on the floor everywhere here is boxes of tights and ballet shoes to take over to our kids who are in Africa so that they can have the proper equipment. Nice. So everything you say is completely true, right? It's not mass market, and there's no reason for it not to be. Like, we really shouldn't have boxes here that have to be like delivered across the ocean so kids can
Exactly.
have the proper attire for ballet. So yes, heard and proof is on the ground here, even though you can't see it.
Yes, that's awesome.
Well, I have never been to Brazil, but I've heard so many fantastic things about it, and am so in awe of the rich tradition and the possibilities of celebrating dance and culture there, and maybe one day connecting it back to our programs in Africa and the Balkans and New York City. Um,
Yeah.
so Ingrid, okay, so now tell us, and you've touched on it already a little bit, and kind of let's change the world today. Let's not like sit it out and wait for somebody else to feel like they want to do it. But these young dancers, especially those who had like ballet training interrupted with COVID during like the critical years, and now the audition season is messed up, and like all of it, like the stress of these young dancers. Like, how do you kind of give them advice to help them see perspective, but also see that like the art form is more powerful than just that next audition, that next gig?
Yeah. I mean, I think COVID has shown us so much, not just in the world, but actually about ourselves in terms of listen to yourself more, feel yourself more, know what's out there for you, but also know how to stop and plan things for yourself. I think also we've all trained a full year in our living rooms, and we know if you live in New York, you know those living rooms are tight. There is no space for anything. So in the psychological
Mm.
way of dealing with that was extremely hard, you know. But I also think that being positive was the other key. If you
Yeah.
weren't positive enough, you wouldn't be able to survive. And I also think for people who sometimes don't see art as the answer, if it weren't for the TV shows, if it weren't for the musicals or music, none of us would have survived um this outbreak,
Yeah.
literally, you know, and we've made out. I also think that now that we are able to be maxed up and with our booster and go to class and watch movies. I went to my first Broadway play the other day, where I went to watch Aladdin with my mom, and she was in love, and it was so beautiful to be there. But I also think that inspiration comes from so many people, you know. It comes from um, just seeing and appreciating others people's journey into dance. Also, I think you have to put your mindset in something that you really wish, and you see yourself there, and you see that's a fit from you, and you should just audition many times, audition to different places, go to different classes, explore what's out there. You know, with social media can be great, and it has amazing people for you to follow, but it also can be very toxic and leave you in a place that's really hard to get out of it. So just don't think that this little screen here is everything. There is so much more life out there.
Yes. It's like it's really interesting thinking about some of the things you're saying with the MindLeap students, because for many of these youth, COVID was kind of like their first access to technology, because nobody really ever invested in that before or thought that that was like relevant. But when everything else is taken away, then all of a sudden technology everywhere in the world becomes important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our youth, for the first time, started to experience what in America we've seen as patterns, the benefit and the hardships or the challenges with social media. And now our youth are starting to try to figure out, like, how do you explore and how do you use this medium? And I hope they hear your words. Many of them are watching right now. That it is both like the possibility to explore, but it's also not the definition of who you are. And if like
Oh,
we can carry those
definitely.
messages forward to them. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think as dancers, we tend to compare ourselves so much with other people, and we forget that our journeys and our own thing are also beautiful and powerful. You know, there is so much that we can explore in ourselves, you know, with our like journaling, the ways you have progressed into dance, the way you have grown. There will be hard days, and that's normal. Like, no one is perfect. There is not such a thing as pitch perfect. That doesn't happen. That doesn't exist. There exists consistency, hard work, thrive, and I think this is what you have to do until you find the common ground of being a very comfortable dancer and feeling what you were capable of. I think that's one of the most beautiful things, when you were confident on who you are and on stage.
Yeah, I mean, it comes back to this concept that you're talking about, this like idea that the story of self, no matter who you are, is relevant and important, and it has a place and a space in the arts. And if we can hold on to that, it can help propel us forward and help us find that path.
Yeah, definitely.
Ingrid, it is such a pleasure to spend this time with you. I'm very lucky to be the founder of MindLeaps, so I get to be the one who interviews you. I feel like this was a special gift for me today. I'm so excited to see how the book unfolds. I would love to see it make its way to America and Africa and the Balkans, and help to see that happen. And we are so grateful for the words of advice you've shared with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for audience. Obrigado, pessoal do Brasil que também esteve aqui assistindo a live. I know I saw a lot of Brazilians here, so I'm really excited. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me, and I can't wait to be part of the project, teach the kids, and I am so excited. Thank you so much.
We're signing you up for Uganda.
Yes, I can't wait.
Okay, thank you so much. Obrigada.
Thank you. Obrigada.